got what you wanted to get done here today?
Yeah, we wanted to, every day we kind of have a theme that we want to go over, and today was our defensive side. Just want to make sure that we don't bypass anything in our process. The players, this morning we had a video, we talked about our defensive game and how we can continue to improve it, but we know that, after Christmas, we're definitely one of the top teams defensively, and we want to keep it that way. And the new guys, for them to continue seeing how we play and to make sure that they have the best chance possible to show themselves in games, and that's part of it. And the guys did great. Like last year at this time of the year, I would have been a lot louder and a lot more on top of the guys because there were so many things that we needed to be done and needed to be understood and how we did it. And so the small details now, the vets are doing an unbelievable job with the young guys, and they're the ones right now that are trying to figure out how we do things. But in terms of the leadership, our vets, like for me, it's been terrific. It really has. Like it's the learning curve is so fast this year. I almost don't even have to retouch on some of the stuff that we did last year. So that's credit to the players and their maturity and how hungry they are to start again.
You've said that about 80% of what you did last year you want to keep in.
Yeah.
The other 20% you're going to work on. Can you be a little bit more specific as to the 20%? Is it more offensive-minded in terms of trying to find more offense?
Well, there's both. I've told the players, I think if you look at the potential we reached last year, and just potential-wise, I'd say we're probably 85% of what we could become. And we were really good defensively, as we saw later on in the year and in the playoffs. And I think the other teams recognize that. We're extremely hard to play against, and we want to keep it that way. But there's still that 15% of things that that I couldn't do last year because we weren't there in the process yet. I couldn't add and tweak some stuff. So we want to be doing that. We're a team that's on top of the opponent. We want to be able to compress more in the O-zone and stuff like that. But there's specific things I surely wouldn't want to get out there and tell the whole world what we're trying to do. But in general, it's about a 15% really. I like to have targets, and then offensively, I'd say we're about 65% offensively. I think that what we think we can do eventually, but. We couldn't get there last year. If I tried to get there last year, we never would have done what we did. So I'm a big process guy, and until you secure your steps in your process, you don't move on. And I think the players recognized that last year, and that's why we were strong at what we were doing. I like experts. Be an expert at what you do before you try to be average at everything. And so this year we've run increments with our offense. We definitely need our Ds to jump more. We asked for it last year, but now it's going to be an obsession on jumping in on breakouts, which is part of our system. It's just, I think, guys have to become better at it and recognize when it's time to go. We want to do a great job in the neutral zone. We're one of the top teams of transitioning in the league, and I think everybody recognizes that, whether it's us or the opponent. We want to keep that, but in saying that, I think we can still do more in terms of accelerating the game there. And I think in the O-zone, we've had an emphasis on a few things that this year with the defensemen that we want to do. We're really good at having our Ds involved and compressing compared to the other teams, but there's things in the O-zone that we can do better. We need a better backdoor. We need a few things that we definitely improve on in the power play. So I think PK, defensive zone, and be able to seal the opponent in D-zone when we got them in a battle. Let's say little things, but when you add them up, I like to put things in percentages, so it gives a target and a vision to strive towards to our players. And I think they've answered last year by really going after the standards that we were going for.
Is Cody Ceci one of those defensemen who you're going to ask a little bit more from as far as offense is concerned? And all you have to do is look at his numbers from 2 years ago, where he was scoring some goals, to 2 last year.
Yeah, but the case with Ceci is whatever people want and what he is not necessarily the same thing. Okay. And that's where he can't get lost in that. And he's a player that's going to be asked to play day in, day out against the top team of every team. So in that regard, it's a totally different awareness. He's one of the few guys, and if you talk to any team in the league, and whenever they talk about trades, or like they want that guy. Why? Because there's so few around like that. A big guy that skates like the wind, that gets involved, that reads the play defensively, that's an outstanding penalty kill, that can play against the McDavid and those guys in the league, and still jumping to the play and help our transition. You don't have guys like that around. So you have to value what he is, and without looking at his points. Right now we're not asking points for him. Will he have more? Of course, because now he's going to be a bit more free-minded. Because his game is at a level now where he can add on a few fractions of seconds now when he has the puck, or reading that he doesn't have to stay back and be the guy that's going to defend. He can go. So that's just maturity over time and gaining fractions of seconds so that the game slows down. His body doesn't slow down, but the game slows down as you get more mature, older, and more experienced. And that's just going to be a natural evolution. So I'm not asking for a superficial evolution. We're just asking for a natural one where he grows at his rate. But his number one task is to play against the best players, and that's where he's at, and he's outstanding at it. And so right now we're looking at Oduya to be with him, especially without Eric. And Oduya's done that for years. And actually, that's one of the guys that I'm so impressed by in the training camp. My goodness, what an unbelievable acquisition. He does it all. Like he's the ultimate pro in the room. He's here before everybody else in the morning. He's so serious about the details, and you can see that it's not just that he's been on winning teams. He's been a big part of winning teams, and you've heard all the big names in Chicago, but a guy who's won two Stanley Cups like that, playing in the top four and playing against, I see why now. It's poise with the puck, his decision making, his controlling the gap, his speed. Like it's unbelievable what we got there. So really, really happy with that.
He seems to be one of those players as well, those veteran players that you talked about, that doesn't hesitate to offer opinion and advice to the young guys.
Oh, 100%. And that's where it's not just his play on the ice, it's what he's going to do for our tangibles off ice too. So like I said, you accelerate your process when you surround your players, your younger players, with the right people. It's always call this an insurance on your money. Really, you got some young guys who are going to be worth a lot, and very often you just let them go and hope that they develop. But you got to put insurance on that. And your insurance is the people they're surrounded with. And sometimes people don't understand why an older guy will be signed more money and what are they doing? Well, it's because we're putting that insurance on our younger guys and on the guys that we want to develop, so that it doesn't take 5 years and it takes 1.5 years instead. And it's not something you're going to see on paper. It's not going to something you're going to see on point sometimes. But your group grows so much faster. And that's what you get out of Burrows. That's what you're going to get out of Oduya. That's what you get out of Thompson. They give you so much that you're not going to see on paper, that there's no price for what they give you.
What do you like most about Schlappick?
Sorry?
Schlappick, what do you like most about him?
Actually, right now, everything. It's speed, it's smarts, it's skill, it's grit. I mean, right now, he's doing it all. So he's definitely one of those guys pushing to stay with us. Will he be the guy? I don't know. There's a lot of competition there. McCormick's been doing really good for us. Vandervel's outstanding penalty kills, played in the league, great intangibles. Brown is high-end hockey sense. There's right now there's a few guys, and you saw this morning against Formanton. I mean, Deacon or most our best defenseman. Like, my goodness, there's something there with this kid. Now, is he ready? I mean, you saw last game that there's parts that he looked ready, and there's parts where you can see he's trying to get adapted to how the pro game is played. So we're only going to know with the next games and the next practices how far he can take it. But there's some really good stories in this camp, absolutely.